Y2k 2000 party's over.
Yep. The only movie on this list that doesn't have Fred Durst in it.
Adam, you'll be shocked. Not only does it have Fred Durst in it, he plays himself.
Yeah.
Another A24. I was shocked this was an A24 movie. It doesn't feel like it.
I'm going to be a gentleman and a scholar and let Crystal go first on our opinions on this film.
Oh, yeah, Crystal.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I didn't see it.
That's great, Crystal. That's great.
The one time.
I know.
Well,
I want to see it too. And I just
everyone's favorite, Rachel Zegler, who's going to be in that horrible Snow White movie coming.
Isn't it Zegler? Is it Ziegler?
Who's
Oh,
that?
okay, have some respect for the Zeg Queen.
She was in
Who is that?
Shazam 2, and she was in Hunger Games prequel part 1.
She's famously known for being the new Brie Larson, where she says a couple dumb things, and then they make 1,000 YouTube videos talking about how much she sucks.
I have no idea who she is, but she's really, really pretty.
So yeah, she is pretty. To be fair, she does say some really just cringy shit, but she's also 20.
She was.
She's
in
young.
West Side Story. She was in West Side Story.
Yeah, that was her big one.
Yeah.
So
She's actually really good in that.
Yeah, Y2K is directed by Kyle Mooney from SNL. He also plays Stoner in the movie. Takes place New Year's Eve 2000. Everyone's worried about the Y2K bug. And by the way, I love the marketing because when I saw these posters, I'm like, holy shit! I remember posters that look like that.
Every music video was in some weird room. Are you kidding me?
Even the
fisheye lens going.
So it's these two boys. They want to party. One wants to be a party guy. The other one is a little restrained. It's you've seen it a million times where there's the fat friendly one, the skinny nerdy one.
I have a feeling the one holding up the condom is the nerdy one, right? Not the partier, right?
No. And of course,
he's the same character he was in Deadpool 2.
Yeah. So yeah, they're hanging out on 2000, and then suddenly the Y2K bug hits. And at first, I was like, "Well, this isn't what the Y2K. It wasn't going to make your toaster attack you. That wasn't the problem." And then as the movie went on, I'm like, "Oh, it's kind of making fun of how people in the 90s didn't really understand any of it, and they were over exaggerating and shit." So yeah, all the appliances that have microchips come to life and they turn into robots. They start hunting humanity down, but only in this town. Weird enough, it only is located just with this town. And yeah, they have to band together to stop the robots and hack into it. They're hackers. And they team up with Fred Durst, who happened to be in town doing a concert when the robots attacked everyone. I didn't think the movie was great, but I had a lot of fun with it. And when it comes to feeling like the early 2000s, I'm like, holy shit, some of this is taking me back. I mean, it's exaggerated a little bit, but when they go through the party and there's the kids who are into swing music, because there was a weird swing music revival.
I don't remember that. You told me about that. Does anyone remember that?
I guess everyone forgot it. It didn't last long. There's all the different groups. They're all being assholes. I really, really enjoyed it. I don't know if it was great, but I had fun with it. Adam, where did you land on Y2K?
Yeah, I thought the first half was actually really strong and funny. And then once the kind of uprising started, the thing fell flat on its face for me, and I became bored by the end of it. I don't think it's terrible. It's a watchable movie. Durst is terrible in it. What a missed opportunity to have some fun with, his former characterization with Limp Bizkit. But some of the characters were just not good. There's the one girl who's the Fred Durst, the Limp Bizkit sycophant, and she sucked the whole time. There's also the slam poetry version of a rapper, and he wasn't funny ever.
Who hates all the mainstream stuff. He's such a fucking contrarian. Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell this was.
You guys don't like my cool indie movies that I pick.
Exactly. This did feel like a movie written by a SNL writer, because there's some decent stuff here for half of a skit, and then they always overstay their welcome and they inevitably fizzle out by the end. Except for the David Pumpkin skit, which is brilliant from beginning to end. I'll stand by that. But no, this wasn't great. I think I laughed out loud a couple times. One being freaking hilarious when a dude, they're going to run away from the robots, and the guy sees the perfect opportunity to grind on a basketball pole. And just completely bodies himself in like one of those Family Guy-esque like quick drops to the ground. Like that was freaking hilarious. Everything else.
There was in one of the like Scary Movie or Not Another Teen Movie, in one of those, there was like a star football player who's running onto the field and he steps on like an acorn and his leg just like twists and that ends up being like I was like, this reminded me of that joke.
There's a really insulting thing in this, and that's that they have Tim Heidecker and Alicia Silverstone as the parents who do nothing.
Yeah.
Getting Tim Heidecker in this movie just he's one of the funniest, like, what is the term he uses? It's like anti-comedy or whatever he used to do on his TV series, but it's off the beaten path humor, but he plays a straight man here. There's nothing funny about this character.
I think they had something cut out. So they hang out with Rachel and her like ex-boyfriend at that big like warehouse or whatever, and they leave. When it cuts back and she's doing hacker stuff, I think the main kid's parents are in the background. I'm like, wait, that's Tim Heidecker.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, I saw him in the background, and then they're all at the school together. So I think there was an extended scene where the parents made it there, and then they all got kidnapped and moved. But at the end, they're all meeting each other for the first time. So I think they changed something in post. But I guess they didn't have enough coverage of her. So I think I have to watch it again. I think Tim Heidecker's just in the background of that scene, part of some deleted subplot.
I mean, if they were cutting the stuff that doesn't work and just leaving in the best stuff, we probably aren't missing anything that great.
No kidding. This wasn't terrible, just not anything too remarkable either. It felt like a very big missed opportunity for a really special, fun comedy.
It could have been a little bit better, but I kind of enjoyed it.
Yeah. Is it a fun one though? Would you say would it be a fun movie to like if it's streaming? Yeah, because that's what it sounds like a fun movie to put on, not really thinking, doing a little mushrooms or whatever, you know.
Crystal, you're probably quite a bit younger than me, so I don't know if you'd get all the references, but this was definitely a movie geared towards people my age who grew up with all of this shit from the 90s. Like, there's so many references in the first half hour. From like the beaded rooms at Blockbuster video type rental stores, and just the music they're playing. There's a great soundtrack in this movie.
Adam, how old are you?
I'm 42 now. I'm a youngin' at 42.
Wow.
Yeah.
You look good for your age.
Well, okay.
But I remember all that stuff. So.
Okay. Well, yeah. Then I think you'd laugh just from seeing the references. I mean, Billy Blank's tied bow even has a. Like, why are we going to that?
So Gil, I asked you 3 times and cut off each time. What did you think of the movie?
I think I liked it less than you guys because I mean, but not by much. I mean, it seems like neither of you really loved it.
Well, you're 19, so you can't relate to anything.
That's right. I was like, Nintendo 64? The hell is that?
Where are the iPhones? He says on his iPhone to his buddy.
I enjoyed like the first 20 minutes, which felt kind of like a super bad knockoff, just done in the late 90s with a lot of references. It's an imitation of something I liked that I haven't seen in a while, and it's got a lot of references. I'm like, you've got mail. I'm like, oh, I haven't heard that in a while. And that guy actually passed away a couple months ago. The guy who said you've got mail.
Legend.
And he used to have a website where you could hire him to personalize that. So he'd be like, you've got mail, Gil.
Oh, nice.
But,
so he did Cameo.
Basically, before Cameo, he invented Cameo, basically. He was an Uber driver.
But it's like a shitty version of Cameo. You have to actually order a CD that gets mailed to your house, and you have 20 hours of free service.
After the actual robot stuff started happening, I just thought it completely fell apart.
Yeah.
A lot like Winnie the Pooh, actually, where it's not taking advantage of the fun premise. Because to me, the fun thing is random appliances coming to life and attacking you, which the first scene does when they all come alive. But then
that part's so good too.
That part was great. And then when they very quickly start combining into sort of humanoid robot things, and then it becomes just like any other zombie monster apocalypse. The monsters just happen to be made of robots. And then if you even accept that and say, is it a good one of those movies? It's just so tonally confused. Where sometimes it'll play like a completely irreverent comedy where people are dying but laughing at the same time. And then in other scenes, it'll try to play itself kind of straight, where death actually matters. And I don't think the two ever quite meld together very well. But even putting all that aside, it's also just not a very funny movie. Here and there it is, but mostly I think the characters are pretty flat and just uninteresting. I thought the cast did fine. It was just they weren't given much material to work with. But if I had my biggest complaint would just be it's not that funny. And if you tried to reach beyond that into actually having some story or horror, it never really gets there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it almost seems like it would have worked better had they just stuck with, like you're saying, the first 20-minute concept of just kind of growing up in that time period and the mass hysteria that actually grew around the idea of Y2K, and not show it, but just have people like lose their shit while these kids are just kind of doing their coming of age stuff. But instead, it all falls apart as soon as they leave the party, I feel like. And
I see a lot of people complaining online. Like, one of the biggest complaints I see is like, this movie was released 25 years too late. And I think that's the dumbest thing I've heard, because it was such a bizarre time. It's the turn of the millennium. There was all this concern about this thing that could go wrong. I actually love the premise of this movie. I feel like you could do something really fun with that.
Well, here's my thing. You guys say like it loses you after the party. It kind of lost me too, but toward the end, it started embracing how like cheesy and weird like hacker movies were in the 90s, and I felt like it waited way too late to do that. So she literally is hacking and just saying stuff that doesn't make any sense, and it goes into the computer, and the computer looks like a city, and I'm like, oh, that's like the movie Hackers. And I also revisited both Lawnmower Mans this year. So at the end, when the AI has like a avatar on screen and it just looks like the Lawnmower Man, but like a foul-mouthed Lawnmower Man CGI face, like, I'm like, wait, I like all of this stuff. You guys were good in the beginning, and then you kind of got away from this and just did like scary killer robots, and then you waited so long to go into this goofy route. I feel like you had to do the goofy stuff just a little bit earlier. So yeah, it is.
Or not at all. That's where I think Gil's right with the totally
or not at all.
Yeah, pick a direction.
Right. Pick a lane.
But you're right. It was a little tonally inconsistent. The Fred Durst thing could have been a little funnier.
I feel like they just saw Zombieland and they were like, it's really funny if you get an actor or celebrity cameo in there.
Yes.
I was shocked that they killed the friend early on and then he just stayed dead. I was waiting for him to come back as a zombie or something, or not a zombie, but like a robot, and it just never happened. I feel like that was a mistake, because then the guy you're left with has so much less personality and sense of humor than him.
He sucked so bad, and I like that guy in It. He fit that character very well as just the kind of likable, lead. Oh, he was miserable here.
So generic.
Crystal, to paint a picture, Shaun of the Dead, right? Remember Shaun of the Dead? Imagine if Ed just died 30 minutes in.
Oh no!
That's kind of what they did with this movie. It's like, oh,
you don't do that.
I'm like, oh, you killed the funniest guy right away. I'm like, would have kept him around just a little while longer.
Although Jesse Eisenberg was far more likable and fun than the lead in Y2K.
Yes, I'd agree with that.
Yes.
I want to know, does anyone else's soul hurt knowing it was 25 years ago that this happened? How?
Crystal, I got super nostalgic when the movie opens with just a computer screen with AOL Instant Messenger. And I'm like, oh, wow, I still know how all of that works. And I'm like, and I haven't used it in a very long time.
Whatever, BRB, gonna go cry in music lyrics.
I'm like, away messages. I'm like, oh, no.
Crystal, you'll feel so miserable watching the movie, because when they get to that party scene and they show the different factions of people and how they're listening to music and just interacting, it's seriously like you're looking at aliens. It seems so foreign and in the bowels of history. It's crazy.
I felt like that when I watched Time Cut a little bit. And I feel like this has more, from what you guys are saying, it feels like this has more references.
This is way better than that.
Visually, this seems more accurate than that movie. I've seen a couple clips of that movie. This feels more like it. I mean, a little bit exaggerated, but still accurate. It's funny because we don't actually get a lot of like 90s and 2000s nostalgia. Everyone's always, I feel like we've been doing 80s nostalgia since the 80s ended, apparently. So it's funny that now we're getting older. It's like, oh, stuff from our youth is now nostalgic and going to be looked back on. And to our credit, the 90s and 2000s, we all looked like assholes, so it's fine. I had frosted tips. We all did it. We all dyed our hair a horrible color. I owned that hat. I don't even like the Yankees. I owned it because Fred Durst had it. And then I went and saw the first Fast and Furious wearing that hat. So that movie got me there. But
well, I was at the bowling alley the other day and hearing music. I'm like, damn, like my sister and cousin, we were like jamming. We're like, yeah, they're playing all those hits. And then all of a sudden we're like, shit. It was all from like, it was like Backstreet Boys and stuff like that. And we're like, is this what we felt like when we were going to the bowling alley when we were tiny? Like I can't function anymore. I'm just like, no, no.
The thing that killed me was seeing them in Blockbuster in the video store. Like, I miss that so much.
It wasn't even Blockbuster; it was a mom and pop one.
Yeah, it was a mom and pop.
Yeah. I think like the dumbest thing I ever said was like 20 years ago in high school. We were talking about a study that said the more choices people have, the less happy they are. And I'm like, that's stupid. It's more freedom. And now I'm older and like, I sit down to watch a movie and I'll start one and be like, no, I could probably find a better one. And I skip around between 50 different movies.
Take a look around.
Sorry. Same thing with video games. Like if you rented a bad game, like you played it because you're like, that's the game I have for this weekend. But now with emulators and everything, you could download every Nintendo game ever made in about 2 minutes. And then you're like, whatever game I play, I can probably find a better one. I just can't commit. Back in
my day, you had to wait 5 full minutes for one piece of porn to download to your computer, and now it's like, oh, boom, 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 boom. What am I looking at now? Not that I don't do that. You know, I'm just looking for wood at the end of
my version of that's so much lamer. I remember downloading Donkey Kong Country 3, the ROM, and it took all day. I remember we had like I was hooked up into the modem, and throughout the day, like every couple hours, I'd run upstairs and like get on the floor and like check. I'm like, all right, we're halfway there.
Oh my God, LimeWire? How many freaking viruses did I get? It wasn't just like
LimeWire.
Yeah, was it porn? Was it LimeWire? I don't know. Funny thing is, I actually downloaded Wicked too, FYI, bootleg version of Wicked, the musical Broadway, and now it's out. So,
nice.
But it is like we lose what we're grateful for. Like we forget to be grateful for things, and that's what it is.
I used to torrent so many episodes of Mystery Science Theater because they had stopped replaying them. And now they're just all free on YouTube. Like, they just don't take them down. I'm like, man, I used to literally, like what you said, Gil, I'd spend 2 days downloading one episode of Mystery Science Theater that I just wanted to rewatch. So yeah, man, that takes me back.